So you want to switch to product-led growth. You think the grass will be greener on the other end, or maybe you want to go sales first. Each approach in how to sell, how to get clients on board, how to convert them into paying customers has their own advantages and disadvantages. But with SaaS sales plummeting in 2023 and 2024, and with enterprise sales going down, with corporations being more and more wary of risks that come with working with startups, let's check what's going on, because OpenAI is saying that they're losing money on their $200 subscriptions because people are using ChatGPT too much, right? So it's an important topic, like which business model to choose. It's an important topic. So today I want to take a look at, what's the right business model for you? Should you pivot your business model? And how to do it if you want to get an unfair advantage. One Message Away podcast is a podcast on solving marketing-related problems in your company, helping you connect with relevant audiences, convert them into paying customers, and becoming a leader in your niche. The podcast drops in seasons. Each season is focused on one specific topic. In the first season, we talk about how to eliminate your competition, how to stand out. Everything is supported by expert interviews, my work, my stories, my experience having worked with more than 30 companies one-on-one and more than 300 companies through workshops, helping them become leaders in their niche. Want to become a niche leader? Subscribe and get unique content to your inbox every 14 days on a Saturday. Let's start by answering this question first. How do you know whether you should innovate on your business model? How do you know whether you should compete on your business model instead of on innovation or brand or anything else? So there are a few parameters you can look for. One, your market is saturated. If your market is saturated, that means obviously you have to compete on something. If you don't want to compete on anything, you'll compete on price. You definitely don't want that. So if your market is saturated, that's already a good indication that you'll have to change something about your business and stand out in one way or the other. Two, technology doesn't have a lot of freedom, a lot of room for fast improvement, or maybe you don't have the resources to improve your product significantly in a way that would actually matter to your customers, to your clients. So you can't make new feature that would make you stand out. You cannot develop the new ChatGPT, for example. You cannot add in something that would significantly improve your product in a way that clients actually like and are willing to pay for. So if you're at that point, if essentially you cannot develop the product further, either because the technology doesn't allow it, or you don't have the resources to change your product, so you're running out of money, or the product redevelopment would be too expensive, or anything like that, or you have designed and developed a product and that was part of the investors say that's it, that's your product now. In those cases, that's a pretty good indicator that you'll have to change something else. So either you change your brand and start competing on brand, or you start innovating on your business model. Three, if you're competing on price more and more, if you see that your clients are trying to slash your prices, or that the market is slashing the prices, so your competitors are slashing their prices, so you have to as well if you want to get any sales done, that's a pretty good indicator you can innovate on business model and stand out that way. Four, you're not getting enough leads to survive. That's an obvious one, right? If you're not getting enough leads to survive, something is gotta give, right? Something has to change, because if you're not getting leads, you're not getting paid. If you're not getting, you're not getting people into the funnel. If you're not getting people into the funnel, you don't get the money. It's that simple. Five, the long sales cycles are killing your cash flow. This was especially true in 2023 and 2024. For some reason, and I believe it's due to market volatility, essentially enterprise sales just stopped. Corporations halted all of the purchasing orders simply because the market is so volatile that we don't know where things are going. And so corporations are more and more wary of working with startups. There are bigger risks for them working with startups. And so if you have a startup, that's making 5 million a year, 7 million, 10 million a year, and you have some traction, but your cash flow might be problematic, obviously you're going to struggle to sell, because it just starts this snowball effect of you running out of money or, living month to month. But then the corporations, when they see that, when they hear, like when you're not marketing, obviously you're losing money to competitors as well. The corporations can see that and feel that, and so they extend those sales processes even longer, and that's again killing you in the long run. And so I've seen in 2023 and 2024, I've been talking to CEOs of SaaS companies who went enterprise sales first, and they all sort of said the same thing, like the sales are down massively, and we want to switch to product-led growth. And whether you want to go product-led growth or you want to go sales enterprise first, I found that companies grossly underestimate the cost of running a business, right? Because if you're in product-led growth, you need to understand that people don't just come into your funnel. I know that, some gurus on LinkedIn are trying to sell you that idea, but the reality is that you'll have to work hard to actually get that funnel working. That funnel costs money. You need experienced people who come in and can fix your funnel, and that can take up to 18 months to get your product market fit right. And that is if you already have past customers. So companies making 3 million, 5 million, 7 million a year, in those cases it can take up 12 up to 18 months to figure out the exact funnel and figure out which clients to focus on, because niching down is not an easy thing to do. And so, by the way, if you don't believe that, watch the episode on niching down. But the reality is most people grossly underestimate how much time and how much money it's going to take to actually get that funnel working, even if you are a growing company. And if you go with enterprise sales first, most people grossly underestimate how much time it actually takes to make a big purchase. So a purchase of how much time it takes to sell $1 million worth of product to a corporate bank, right? Because it typically takes about 12 to 18 months. So again, you need to have the cash to go through that, right? And that's why, for example, AppSumo, so the legendary marketplace for lifetime deals, is full of stories of failed startups, including one that I absolutely loved and wanted to actually invest in, except that I didn't believe that the team truly understands the environment that they're working in, because this was Sessions. Sessions was an online conference tool, so essentially a Zoom competitor that was much nicer to use, and it could be used for webinars and for Zoom calls, obviously, and all sorts of things like live webinars, recorded webinars, all of those things. And it had some additional features. You could integrate Miro in it, etc., etc. So it was really nice to use. It was a nice product overall. The problem was that the team sort of underestimated how much money it's going to take them to run and just keep maintaining and developing the product, because obviously Zoom is updating their product and everyone else is updating their product, so they'll have to develop as well. And by going through essentially crowdfunding through AppSumo, they got a lot of money really fast. But obviously those were not subscriptions, because AppSumo sells lifetime deals. So that was a one-off purchase. And now they had to maintain the product for all of those people who were not paying monthly subscriptions. And obviously, the team sort of stopped paying salaries to themselves, and they tried to do another crowdfunding campaign and failed, and et cetera, et cetera. So it was a shit show. Why it was a shit show? Because we grossly underestimate how much money it actually takes to get people into our products and convert them into paying customers. And where I'm trying to lead with all of this is like a switch from a product-led growth to a sales enterprise, or the other way around. So enterprise sales to product-led growth is not as easy as, the switch of a button. The grass doesn't just get greener if you say, oh, we'll do product-led growth from here on out. It does not work like that. You are grossly miscalculating, underestimating how much money and how much time it's going to take to actually do that switch. If you're trying to do that 3 months before you fail, it's going to be a hard lesson for you. So I've helped a couple of companies to plan and execute that switch. And the biggest issue is that if you're sales first right now, you have completely the wrong team who has the wrong mentality to actually do product-led growth, right? Because for example, in a sales-led or a development-led organization, the people profiles will differ a lot from organization trying to do PLG, right? For sales, you need good sellers, appointment setters, for example, they're key, right? But for PLG, you need growth marketers and you need market-facing people. So the switch comes with a big change in the team. Either the team actually has to do that change and you go from being an appointment setter to a product marketer, which is difficult, or you have to fire half of the company and, hire different people profiles. So the real question here is, are you prepared to do that? Are you prepared to, part ways with half of your team who are now, your friends? Are you prepared to say goodbye to Kara, who, has been an amazing appointment setter, but you'll have to fire her because of the strategy change? Or is she willing to learn product marketing? For example, I've been working with a company, they have been doing about, $1 million a year, where you had about 15 developers because they were essentially developing custom solutions almost for their clients. So essentially the client came in, they had sort of a modular system, but they had to do some custom development for each client for that to work, which, worked fine. They came to about $1 million a year, but obviously they were struggling to get to the next step of investment because that approach wasn't scalable. Like for that approach, you would have to hire new developers, which obviously comes with a cost, and then it's difficult to scale. It's not a model that's scalable. And they wanted to switch to PLG. And in that case, it made sense because the goal was to build a faster growing company, a scalable company that can actually attract an investment. But obviously now we had the conversations of, we will have to let half of the developers go because we are sort of streamlining the processes and we are hiring product marketers, right? And half of the team has to go, but it can be done. The company that I was working with, they got a $2 million investment at the end of that process, but obviously it took us 12 months. So these things take time, and we had the time, we had the money, but if we didn't have that, we would just end up dead somewhere in between that process. Another B2B company I was working with, in the beginning when I came in, it was essentially like 80%, 85% in an engineering company. And then obviously all that focus on the product had to switch, right? They were doing enterprise sales and, quite well, I should say. But obviously with the switch to PLG because of the 2023-2024 slump, obviously the biggest issue was we needed to set up their marketing. So we needed marketing people. We need to set up their digital funnels. So we had to hire people who know digital funnels. We had to create lead magnets. So it's a lot of work. We had to simplify the product. But, in the end, they went for a $15 million investment, Series A investment. And so these cases can be done. You just cannot underestimate, when you make those sort of decisions, you have a couple of choices. You can say, we're doing this, and then you actually execute. Most companies that I see, they say we're gonna be doing this and then nothing changes. And so essentially the team reverts back to status quo. So for example, in one of the companies I was helping or advising, they had 4-week development stints, which was fine for enterprise sales. But in product-led growth, that doesn't work. And so even when they said, we're simplifying and we're speeding that up, we went from 4 weeks to 3 weeks. That still doesn't work in product-led growth, right? So we needed to change the mentality and show them that, we're running 100 tests a week. That's product-led growth. But they're not going to get there on their own. You'll have to change the systems that are in place because, the company is doing 5 million, 10 million a year. You have systems in place. People are used to a certain tempo of working. You'll have to change that significantly. There is another company that I was working with, for example, who used a business innovation change to maximize their company valuation. Essentially, they had a hardware product and they wanted to add a digital product so that they can maximize the valuation for the investors and for the future strategic partners, for example. And again, it's a process, right? You have to go back and forth. What can the team do? What can we provide? Who can we hire? What needs to change? And all of that. But simply saying we are now a product-led growth company doesn't really do anything. You have to go in, you have to change things up, because business model changes are costly. They take a long time. But the biggest sort of challenge that I see in companies that I work with is to get people to switch the mentality and sort of, embrace the change. And that being, CEOs who have to fire people who are not going to be assets in these companies anymore, and in the team itself. So, people who are product people who need to now switch focus to product marketing, for example. So the biggest, I think, aspect of repositioning the company from a sales first to a product-led growth is essentially, it's a people problem. Again, the biggest change is in the mental shift. But sometimes it's necessary, and if you're willing to do whatever it takes to make that change and let some of the people go and reposition some of the people within the company, then it's, when it's properly thought out, it's a really good strategy, and a really good strategy to stand out in the market as well. Because if you can stand out with your innovation, stand out with your business model, you can actually get an unfair advantage over all of the other people. If you take a look at Slack and similar examples, they essentially won a huge percentage of market share against Microsoft, a huge corporation, just by being better at innovating, obviously on the product side, but also on the business model. So the key to answer in this episode is, what kind of a company do you want to have? Because if custom development is working out for you and it works fine, and you want to build a lifestyle business, and you don't need scalability because you're not going for an investment, you're not looking to sell the company, then keep doing what you're doing. Optimize the systems, optimize the processes, you'll get better. But if you see that the current model is not working for the goal that you're trying to reach, then obviously something has to change. And in that case, a business model innovation can be a good thing. Now, obviously, in the company, the KPIs have to reflect what you're trying to do as well, right? So you can't keep people accountable for 100% growth if you're building a lifestyle company, right? And the other way is true as well. If you're going for that 100% a year growth because you want to go the VC way and fuel your growth and go into hyper growth, in that case you simply have to have a team that is used to working in those high growth environments, right? But the point is, you need to clearly communicate with the team what needs to happen, right? So if you're sales first, if you're going for growth, the team needs to know this, and you have to keep them accountable, and they have to reach certain KPIs. They have to stand behind the numbers, right? But if you're going for a lifestyle business, something that is easier, and it's like a 20% growth every year or something like that, then the KPIs need to reflect that as well. In any case, you need to communicate the goals and the strategy with the team and get them on board, sort of align them all around the same sort of mission, whatever that mission is, 100% growth, 20% growth. And yeah, I do that with my 90-day plan to become a niche leader. So if you're interested in that, do sign up for the waiting list on the bottom. It's going to be free, but do sign up and I'll send you the document as soon as it is ready. It's going to be essentially documenting the whole process of how to become a niche leader in 90 days. That's it for today. Thank you for bearing with me, and do like and subscribe if you haven't yet. I'll see you next time. May your customers love you and understand your products.